And we're live. How do I look like? All right, guys. What's up, everybody? This is yours truly, Igor in Russia. And in this video, we are going to be talking to Moscow photographer, a YouTuber from Moscow. We met actually for the first time in Moscow, just on my hashtag Igor travel to Voronezh trip. This is Igor in Russia show. Finally, man, you and I just met up in Moscow. And for those who don't know, this is Moscow photographer Eddie, and he's been gaining ground on YouTube and doing awesome videos. We're gonna shortly hear your backstory, because in a more longer version or proper video is coming up, like this weekend possibly, or next week, me and you, and vice versa. We have like collaboration going on, guys. So this is gonna show you in a hopefully in a different light, in just just two guys talking, and everybody who's watching is welcome to join. And join means chat, guys. Write down comments and questions for Eddie and me, especially for Eddie maybe in this case. And so Eddie, who are you in the short version for those who don't know?
Oh man,
just
well, first of all, thank you for having me on this live. And I see a lot of familiar names in the chat, and then I see some names that I don't know. So obviously there's people who don't know me. My name is Eddie. I am the Moscow photographer. I have a YouTube channel called Moscow Photographer. And if you're not part of that community, I urge you to find the links, go to the channel, check out some of my videos, and become part of the community. But I am originally born and raised in Texas. I'm a Texas-born native, and I moved to Moscow. I moved to Moscow, and then I married a Russian woman. And so we both live here in Moscow now. And so that's what brought me from Texas to Moscow.
What languages do you speak? Somebody, Oleg asks, do you speak Spanish?
So, sí hablo español, claro que sí. And of course I speak English, and я говорю по-русски немного.
But you have a nice, not accent, what do you mean? Pronunciation. You have pretty nice pronunciation. And we have to say, an expat American has a bit rougher pronunciation for now. Say hello.
He's from Florida. He doesn't count, man.
Hello to Joe back in, also to Moscow. And but yes, and is this the first time we actually get to see your background, your home, like in a real unedited?
In a real live, yeah. I usually do all my lives, most of them, well, all of them actually, from this little room here in my flat in Moscow. So yeah, it's where I do it.
You have a beautiful home.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm right now in exile, so to speak, in Finland. So I'm missing my home in St. Petersburg, but I usually have this corner here, which is not for studio. So it's really, we have a small apartment, so I don't have like a fancy, I cannot think about lighting and stuff, because this is all you get.
No, you look good. You look good.
Yeah. All right. So we got that out of the way, and thanks for everybody who's didn't surrender when we had the tough time in the beginning. This video topic is about, of course, just me and you talking this and that, and anybody can join in. But the topic is moving to Russia, pros and cons, Americans' life in Russia. So how's your life been in Russia, Moscow so far?
Love it. Yellow blue. So I love living in Moscow for many reasons. One, just you're in the center of it all. If you think of the world right now, and you think of the center where kind of everything's kind of grinding around Russia, whether it be the situation with the neighboring country, would it be the situation with NATO countries and the West, or whether it's with the BRICS nations and developing cooperation and expanding levels of cooperation between nations. And so Russia is to me, Russia is the epicenter right now of the world, and certainly the multipolar world, where Washington used to have some of that. It's kind of losing that influence right now. It's lost it completely, if you ask me.
And sure, you get that feel in Moscow, like me coming from, especially like St. Petersburg. I consider it my home. I feel like at home, like 100%. Me coming to Moscow, I feel like a tourist again. And somehow, usually, there's a thing when you come from certain countries or certain cities, you feel in a certain way. If it's like a poorer country, in a way, you feel maybe respectful always. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you maybe feel confident if it's like a smaller country or like a country with some more simpler life. And same thing you might feel between the cities in a country or between countries. You like St. Petersburg, Helsinki. Helsinki is a little town for me. That's nothing.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just coming to Moscow. I feel like a little boy back then. Everything is so huge. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, excuse me, can I buy this? No, I'm exaggerating. But it's like, it's so big for me, even though St. Petersburg is big, but Moscow is bigger and everything is bigger, more possibilities, that type of stuff. So you do live in a Russian and probably in a global epicenter for sure.
Oh, definitely, for sure. And based, kind of going back to what you were saying about Moscow. Moscow is such a huge city, and I don't live anywhere near the center, right? I live on the outskirts of Moscow. And so when I look out my window, it doesn't look like Moscow. I don't know how to describe it. It looks like a big city, apartments and streets and parks and so forth. But I can get on the metro, and 30 minutes from now, I can be at Red Square, and I just come out, and it's like I'm in another city. It's like completely different. But I'm in the same city. I'm in Moscow. So it doesn't feel huge. It doesn't feel overwhelming. It doesn't feel like it's going so fast. But there is a lot of energy here in Moscow that, I mean, you could just go to the center, not do anything, just hang out, and then go back home, and you're going to feel drained. Yeah. Because Moscow, I call it like an energy vampire. It sometimes just sucks the energy out of you, but in a good way, not in a bad way.
Yeah, same thing in St. Petersburg. If I go into town, it means you leave and you come really late. Sure, I do film a lot, even though I shouldn't. I don't need to. I have tons of material, but still, big Russian cities, there's so many events and things you can do even without planning. So what was the word for drainage or energy, or what was it?
Energy vampire.
Energy vampires, for sure, but it's worth it. But how's your day, and how's the daily life then in Russia? This is something probably like when you're not filming, what do you do? How do you spend your time? And by the way, Edo said this place is suburbia, and I would continue. You meant probably like a suburban town. Russia has lots of like suburban cities, towns.
Right.
And towns mean like 500,000 people, 500,000. So you do have these type of areas.
Pretty much, because every little district around Moscow is like its own little village, because you have everything around you. Mm-hmm. So you really have no need to go anywhere else. Like within a 10-minute walk, there are probably 4 supermarkets, a handful of pharmacies. There's fruit markets, vegetable markets. There's all of these online shopping outlets, like for Oson, Yandex Market, Wildberries. So, I mean, literally, you could live in your little village, in your little district, never go anywhere else, and not miss a beat. I've got restaurants, I've got cafes, I've got all kinds of eateries around me. I got shopping malls, theaters.
What does Eddie do?
What does Eddie do?
Yeah, I know you have all this stuff, and usually actually in your neighborhood, even your neighborhood, all of this. But what do you like to do in your area in Moscow?
Right now I've been so busy with the channel, with WorryFree Russia, which we'll talk about later, and just all of that stuff that it just keeps me really busy from day to day. I usually try to take Mondays off. That's my day off, to just do nothing, but I usually wind up doing something. So my average day looks like this, okay? I wake up in the morning, have some coffee so that I can, become alive again, check out X, because I like to get my news from there, check out Telegram, and then I'll go to the computer and maybe do some editing, or do some preparations or whatever that is. Usually that's about my day. In the evening, go for an evening walk. This is if I don't have anything else going on that particular day. It's just a very calm day, not much going on. So that's pretty much it. I just stay around the flat.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's on a day like, today, I went into the city. I met one of our fans. We had lunch together. We walked around the parks. We discussed some ideas for maybe some future films and things like that. Came back home, did some more work on the computer, matter of fact, on our video that we've got coming up, and had dinner, and now here I am on a live. So
what's your favorite places in St. Petersburg? Moscow. I always confuse the two. I don't know why. in speech.
Edelwolf asked a question earlier. Viewing Moscow as a compass, what side am I on?
Wow.
So I'm on the north side of Moscow. So if you look at the compass, I'm on the north end at the very edge of Moscow. And when you're this far out from the center, you have, I like to say, less concrete and more trees, more forest areas. And right close to where I live, there are 2 forest parks that I really, really love. I'm also close to the Moscow Canal. So I've got the water, I've got nature, I've got a beach, and I've got forest areas. And I can go there. It's like less than a 20-minute walk, 15-minute walk. And I'm in a forest, and you can't tell that I'm in a city of 18 million people. And that's what I love about where I live right now. I love that about this place. There's no way I could live in the center. There's no way I could live where there's just concrete and asphalt everywhere. That's just not me, man. That would drive me nuts. I need nature.
But besides your neighborhood, your area, and I don't think Edelwolf, Eddie, you need to answer what's the closest metro station for safety reasons, but with all due respect, and also answer to Ivan. Иван, используй Яндекс переводит. Яндекс browser can translate. I don't know about lives though. I don't know about lives. Живые не знаю. But yeah, except your neighborhood, the favorite places, like 3 in Moscow.
Favorite places to go in Moscow. Obviously, to me, it's Red Square, because if you want to remind yourself of where you are, I just go there and walk around, either around Goom Mall, maybe Nikolskaya Street, maybe around the Kremlin, and just hang out in that area. It's so easy to get to.
But still, you've been living in Moscow for a couple of years, right? 100%.
Yes.
So it's still the most the center of Moscow is your favorite.
Actually, I'll tell you the truth. If I had to pick between going for a walk in my local forest park or going into the center, I would rather go to the forest park.
Yeah,
hands
but
down.
only once you've seen Red Square, like day before.
Yeah, because I've already been there. I don't know how many times. Yeah, but it really is impressive when you go there, and especially if you haven't been there for, like, for me, 2 or 3 weeks. If I haven't been to the center, and then I go to Red Square and I see it, and I'm just like, awe again. Yeah. It hits you that way. So I'm so excited when I hear first-time visitors wanting to come to Moscow, because I can feel their excitement, and I can remember what I felt like when I first saw it. And it's like, man, you're just going to love it.
We are very similar guys, even though we just met, but I felt that already when we met up. I also have exactly same feeling when people ask me for my guidance in traveling, etc. We're going to talk about what do you do later a bit in the last part of the video, but I offer this travel help for people. Mm-hmm. And when I hear that they're going for the first time to St. Petersburg and Moscow, it's like, oh my God, like that's so great. And and what to do. You can just name the most typical places to see. In your case, that's Red Square, etc. In St. Petersburg, I would say Winter Palace Square, etc. But it's totally fine. They never get old, despite
they never get old.
Yeah. So, all right. So you moved to Russia, and what do you think? That's a hot topic right now in the world, or at least in the YouTube world, and that people are considering moving to Russia, especially because of the unfinished decree of the president about the moving on basis of traditional values. But let's not get into that traditional values thing, but just in general, moving to Russia. So what has been the biggest pros for you? Of course, you were getting married, so you had this. But if we're not talking about like relationship, which is obvious, a good reason to move, no matter where, you can go to a small town and it's still fine because you're, building a family or in that. But what's the best thing in Russia? Why people should move to Russia based on your experience? And of course, also, why not? Why would that be a bad idea? For some,
I think I could sum it up like this. There is a family that I've been talking with that will soon be moving here from the United States to Moscow. They came to Moscow earlier this summer and spent, I think, 2 weeks here. They returned back to the United States, and they immediately, they made the decision while they were here. This is where they want to live. And listening to how they felt when they were here, they felt calm, tranquil, secure, safe, and they felt like this could be home for them.
Yeah.
And these are things that Americans know that are in danger in the United States. Your safety, your security, the economy, all of these things are hurting a lot of Americans, especially those who are not the elite, the super rich. We're just talking about middle income, right? Middle class people, middle class America is the one that's hurting the most. And so when these people come here to visit, and they just feel how calm it is, how safe it is, all of their not so much, I would say, fears, but all of the propaganda that has been working subconsciously in their mind kind of just fades away. It just disintegrates because they immediately know that they've been lied to, and been lied to for years. So even though my channel and your channel too, Igor, and then there's many expats here with YouTube channels that try to do the same thing. We try to show the real Russia, how it is, and to be as authentic and as genuine as we can. But there's some people that, I don't care how many videos you show them, how much you talk to them, it's not until they come here and experience it firsthand that they will understand what we're trying to say. So that's why I always say, just come visit Russia.
And we have Marissa, for example, here is saying we're planning our first visit in early 2025 and hoping to fall in love with Russia so we can move. If I would be the spokesman, I'm kind of am with you. We both are like promoters basically, but it's, just because we just love the place and doing content, but basically we are promoting because it's so easy to promote. But that's the easiest thing basically is to say that, oh yeah, you're gonna fall in love with Russia for sure.
And I will go one step further and say, Marisa, you will not fall in love with Russia. Russia will fall in love with you.
Wow.
And you'll understand what I mean once you come here. Just remember those words. Russia will fall in love with you.
And it's hard for me to say, when you say about all these things about America, and I, of course, because the American dominance of the popular culture and the TV world and even YouTube. So I've seen a lot of, and I've seen extensively, and I usually like to see the real world and think about the personalities and social cultures, build my knowledge from watching and exploring that content. But for me, it's I probably cannot understand what are you talking about when you're talking about the people being lied to, or how the feel of insecurity in some cities in America. I've seen a little bit because the stuff I see online, they're walking nighttime New York. That's you'll never see that stuff in Russia, thank God, because that's awful. That's like with all due respect, it's like a third world country thing, and that's supposed to be the greatest place. That's what they say and teach kids in school, to be patriotic. This is the best place on earth. Not based on those stuff, thousands or hundreds or even like more than one person encampments on the streets in a big city in the main street. What the hell is that all about? So I see that, but it's still somehow I cannot understand, the emotion, why people are actually like searching to move out because they had enough. It's probably something I'm not able to understand without living in that country.
So let me give you an example. So middle class family struggles to buy food because the food prices are increasing. Struggles to get to work because we have to drive to work. So now we've got to pay more for fuel. Got to pay more for electricity. And so when you see your paycheck basically getting smaller and smaller, and yet, excuse me, the talking heads in political circles look at the camera straight ahead and say, "This is the strongest economy that America has ever had. We've created 400,000 new jobs this year. The economy is going great. Inflation is going down," and you're like, man, I just paid $30 more to fill up my truck today. It just cost me another $125 more this week in groceries. How can you tell me that we've got a great economy? So you see this and you experience this. I mean, you're being lied to. Yeah, I'll give you an example. I was in San Antonio. I shot a wedding there. I want to say it was 2019. Beautiful hotel right downtown San Antonio. Beautiful place. I returned 2 years later in 2021, shot another wedding at the same hotel, and there's homeless people on the sidewalk right across the street from this beautiful luxury 5-star hotel. And you're thinking, this is not normal. This is not right. And yet people are just walking by like it's normal, because
it has become normal.
It has become normal. And what I'm saying is, no, people, it's not normal. And you've got to wake up. You've got to say something, because it's not normal. Now, everybody remembers when Tucker Carlson came to visit Russia earlier in the summer. he said something after he returned back to the United States. I was watching one of his interviews, and he says, I went to Moscow, and within a few days of being in Moscow, I became radicalized. Mm-hmm. I became angry, not at Moscow and not at Russia.
That as well.
Yeah, he said, but why can't we have this over there? There's clean streets. There's no graffiti. There's no homeless people. There's no random crime on the streets. There's order. People are moving. People are going to work. They're going about their day, and they're safe. And he became angry because we don't have this in the United States. Supposedly, the greatest country, the richest country in the world, right? Mm-hmm. American exceptionalism. Why can't we have this there? And so I think Americans who come here, visit Russia for a couple of weeks, you're going to be radicalized. And that's the hope. Go back to America and say, hey guys, I've seen it better. I've seen what America can be, what America used to be. We need to work to get back to that. And but it will radicalize you. Just come visit.
Yeah, and of course it's easy to talk about all the great stuff that you see in Russia from the outside coming in. It's digitally, if we're talking about buying and services, that it's very convenient. Everything is digitalized. The governmental stuff, I think, as well. I'm sure they have some hiccups there, like any governments, but I think it's also very digitalized, that everything goes through Gosuslugi, and you have everything online. Everything works. Everything is clean, safety. Sure, there are some places which might be, but that's all. Usually, that's what I say for people. That's like an exception for real, and I don't mind showing if there is some bad neighborhoods. And by the way, speaking about bad neighborhoods, which is like normal thing in States, I guess, but you have to Google in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Believe me, I want to do that video, but there is no such thing as a bad neighborhoods. Don't go there neighborhoods. There is no such thing for real. And if so, and the lists that they are existing usually means they're not as, people. There might be like a factory nearby, so you wouldn't like to live there. But not like don't walk after 10 o'clock. There's no such place there.
I have not heard of such a place.
I've Googled, like there is no such thing. You cannot find. And that's a great thing.
No, absolutely.
Jason asks, do we know how many months we can travel outside Russia after receiving temporary residency? Isn't that so that basically as much as you want? No?
After residency or
temporary residency?
What is it?
How many months? How many months we can travel outside Russia after receiving temporary residency? I think it's unlimited.
Well, I think if you mean outside of Russia, in other words, to leave the country, with a temporary residency, you must reside, and don't quote me on this, I want to say it's 183 days out of the year.
Half the time.
So half the time, actually a little bit more than half the time, needs to be spent in Russia.
If you want 100% sure legal answer, there's a link in the description that you can use, and you can have a free consultation from Moscow law firm Braiden Consulting. And if you need to advance, they also give a discount with this link in the description. Good questions, tight ones, right? Not easy ones for.
All right.
All right. What about cons for those negative? Make no. There's a lot of great stuff in Russia, but of course there are downsides, and of course, and I can just name a few so that the people won't, so that people would believe us more. The downsides I can say, just to begin with, and you can continue if you want, is that of course people are also struggling there or working hard. Outside Moscow and St. Petersburg, the minimal wage is lower. Say Moscow has like $1,300, but that's like the medium. St. Petersburg has like $1,000 approximately, and it goes down. And people work a lot, maybe like 5-6 days. It can be like 8, 9, or 10-hour day shifts depending on the work. But people do have normal life struggles like anywhere. But and people do make decisions. Do they go to Peterочка or Перекресток, which is a little bit higher, or what is the
Вкусвилл.
Вкусвилл. Азбука вкуса. Is there such thing? Оля, нету такой? Anyway, but you can depend, or you go to like a shopping grocery store with the cheapest stuff. They do also these, and people count their rubles as well, just like any place. But despite all that, you still get the clean and interesting cities with a lot of culture and safety and and values and normal life. What about other real life cons you would?
So yeah, for a Westerner, the biggest con is going to be money. So you've either got to be able to bring a large amount of money into Russia, and there's many ways to do that legally, or you can earn money in, say, the United States, either through maybe retirement, through Social Security, maybe through an annuity. You still need to transfer it into Russia, or you need to earn money in Russia. So that's going to be the not so much a con as it is a hurdle that you are going to have to overcome. You're going to have a plan for that, and just don't move to Russia without having that plan first, because there's, unlike the United States, there is no welfare, there is no charity, there is no handout. Okay,
yep.
It's all coming from you, so you have to have a plan. So that's going to be the first con. The second con is going to be that if you want to work in Russia, and you do come over here and say you do get the temporary residency, now what? You got to be able to speak Russian. So most businesses, most companies won't hire you if you cannot speak the language. There may be some jobs, and I'm sure that there are, where you could still speak English. The most obvious one is going to be like an English tutor or an English teacher, but
an IT section.
Yeah, but if you wanted to go maybe into IT, or maybe say you have a professional degree in the United States and you want to be able to use that professional degree here, you're going to have to know the language, first of all. And then the second part is going to be to get what's the word I want to use? Validation of your education in the States has to be validated here in Russia. And sometimes many people are going to be surprised when their maybe PhD in the West only equals maybe a master's degree in Russia. So that can happen as well.
And of course, currently we're talking about the current situation, because this is not normal. The stuff, the situation with the West. So, and meaning the money transfer is what it is. One way is to maybe go across the border if you can to the European side and bring in dollars, for example, if that's the case. But I don't think, and I'm expecting this situation to freaking change to normal, despite all the, despite all the news. I'm still, after 2 years, almost 3 years, I'm a little bit, I'm still positive, thinking positive things in the near future, I hope. All right. So here's some of the pros and cons from the real American living in a real world of Russia in Moscow, like for real, not like me just traveling there and feeling like it, but a lot of same stuff we have noticed for sure with our experiences. So we have like 10 minutes, so let us know about WorryFree service that you've opened. I want to hear about that.
Yeah, thank you very much. So in the aftermath of President Putin's decree on August 19th that created an easier pathway for people in the West, people from unfriendly countries, as was listed in the decree, an easy pathway for immigrating to Russia. And this is to get a temporary residency permit. Now, the TRP is your ticket to being able to reside in the country and to be able to work in the country and to be able to open up a business in the country. So you get all of those benefits, and there has just been a flood of requests for information. Many of these people are just, as we say, they're just kicking the tire, or they're just curious and they just want to know. And other people are really, really serious. The thing is, for 2 days, I did nothing but answer questions all day long. And I would say about 80%, 85% of the questions were just people who were just curious. And it's like, people, I got a life. I've got to be able to do something. So I got an idea and I said, I'm just going to do this just to kind of separate those that are just, tire kicking and those that are really, really interested in moving or visiting Russia. So I developed a website around a service where I provide travel consulting services. In other words, how to come travel to Russia. It's much more than just getting a visa and making plane reservations and just popping yourself up here in Russia. It's a little bit more difficult because of the sanctions have made it a little bit more difficult. I think it was easier pre-SMO and pre-sanctions. It was easier to do that. Now it's a little bit rough. Mm-hmm. But I feel that people still want to come, but they're going to need a little bit of help. And if you want help, I can help you with that. Also, when you're coming to Russia, you don't know the language. You don't know how things work in Russia. And you just want a friendly face, somebody you can trust that'll kind of guide you through the beginning, maybe greet you at the airport, maybe escort you to your hotel, get you a cab, maybe set up apps on your phone, maybe get a Russian SIM card.
Beer advice,
whatever, or just someone to hang out with that speaks the same language that you do and can kind of tell you, hey, what does this mean? What does that mean? You could do that. I'm available. Basically, let's just say it. I'm available. So go to the website. It's WorryFreeRussia.com.
The link is in the chat.
Link is in the chat. Thank you so much. I've got a free consultation for 15 minutes. And this is basically just, let's have a question and answer session to determine if I'm right for you. That's basically what that is. And then if you do need more concise information, or you need more help, more, let's say, research on my end, then I do have some paid links where we can book some additional time, and I can dedicate my time to just you and help you that way.
And Marissa is already booked an initial consultation for tomorrow with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to it, Marissa.
So yes, and and let's see if I'll be joining you guys in the partner section.
Absolutely, on my page. Let me go ahead and mention that really fast. So on my page, I have a trusted partner section that if you want assistance with other things like money transfer, which is going to be big. Preparations with visa or assistance with immigration. I've got Braiden Consulting, which is also a trusted partner. There's Timur Beslangurov is also on there. If you're interested in purchasing property or maybe looking into buying a home or property, there's information from Tim Kirby's American Villages project. And there's also, I believe, Braiden Consulting can help you with property acquisition as well.
Everything legal, yeah.
Absolutely. And
no, I mean everything with the legal stuff, not legal. With
right,
the legal stuff.
With legal stuff here in Russia.
I'm sure everything is legal with you as well.
Yeah, and also soon, here in just a little bit, you will find a link for Igor's services as well. And I'm going to be adding a few more. And I'm also going to be adding a language teacher. This is Nikolai Tishin, who does online classes, things like this. So if you want to learn Russian, there'll be a link on there probably within the next 24 hours. And you can go to his site. He's got a lot of free YouTube videos, a lot of free resources. But if you really want to up your language skills in Russian before you come over here, take one of his online classes, maybe his A1 class.
So you got all kinds of specialists in their own right covered on your, and of course.
And yes, let me just say this too. If you come and you visit and you want professional photography, maybe you want a family photo or maybe a family portrait here in Russia, I'm the Moscow photographer, you know? So you got one right here as well.
It was weird when I started to seeing you on the algorithm feed, and it was weird for me to understand why Moscow photographer, and of course it clears up. There's a lot of YouTubers whose names are a little bit like funny or untrue. Of course, if we're talking about unfriendly YouTubers, let's put it like that, or liars, basically. There's a lot of YouTubers who say they're in somewhere, but will actually are outside. You know, there's like these kind of things. Mm-hmm. Me, of course, Igor in Russia. I'm not in Russia, what I do when I'm in Russia. You are Moscow photographer because that's your actually profession. And
I'll explain how that came about.
Please do.
This was in 2022, in February of 2022. I was getting ready to travel to Russia. This is before SMO. And me and my fiance, my wife now, we're going to make preparations to get married. But before that, we were going to take an excursion to Egypt. So my plan was to come here on February 23rd, 2022. So anyway, I'm still back in Texas, and I'm thinking, hey, I'm about to move to Russia. What do you want to do when you get there? And I said, well, one of the things I want to do is I want to photograph. I want to be a photographer. So I thought, maybe I could create a YouTube channel to help promote my photography business when I eventually get there. I said, you know what? That's a good idea. Let me go ahead and open up the channel before I travel to Russia. So went over to YouTube and I made the channel Moscow Photographer. I even got a URL, moscowphotographer.ru, and came here. Boom, SMO starts, everything changes. And then when I decided that I wanted to start doing YouTube videos, I was like, I already have a channel. Why, I can't start a new one from Russia because it's going to be banned. Mm-hmm. I already have a channel. It's open to the United States. Let me just use that. So that's how I became Moscow Photographer.
The Moscow Photographer.
The Moscow Photographer.
All right. So we have, the time is 11. I think we talked about a 1 hour stream. But I think I love doing these, and I would love to do more of these. By the way, we had a failed attempt of streaming with 3, maybe even 4 YouTubers. back in Moscow, but I was so exhausted, and you saw me, I wasn't able, after traveling so long, I wasn't able to actually walk to expat Americans' apartment where we were supposed to do a live stream. But like, seriously, I was not joking. I could not walk after traveling for over a week. And so what I was gonna say, we did an epic stream attempt with the 4 YouTubers. Once again, I think this is the first time ever.
That was a lot of fun.
I've done a lot of things on YouTube that as the first one, so I guess this is one of them. But failed because I was so wasted physically, not drunk, that I didn't ask for Wi-Fi. Did you notice that?
Yes. But you were extremely tired because you had been awake maybe 24 hours at that point.
Basically, I was awake for more than that because I slept on a train station. I do travel, and I used to say, and I say, when I travel like a local guy, like most of it. So I try to, and I live like a local. I don't eat in restaurants like a tourist. I eat, if I'm not able, I eat at stolovayas, fast, quick, fast food, which is not good. And, even don't eat at all because I do a lot of filming and that type of stuff. So, and yes, I saved up money because I was traveling 2 nights in a row back from Voronezh. So I did not sleep this one night. And the second night I did not sleep. I was on a train station. There was so shady people around, so I wasn't feeling comfortable at sleeping. So yeah, it was epic stuff. You saw me, and that's why, guys, if you want to go check out before the new stuff with me and Eddie on our channels, on his channel and on my channel, coming up soon, there's a video where we're talking about this decree with Expat American on your video, on your channel with you. And if you're very close, just look at my eyes at when the expat Joe was talking to Eddie. I'm somewhere, I don't know, I'm sleeping with my eyes open.
You're sleeping with your eyes open, yeah, definitely.
And hello to another, what's the word, colleague, Anna Global Travel. Hello. And Anna, we need to do a live stream, but I'm traveling in a bit elsewhere, so we have to do it another time. But thank you for chatting here. All right, hey, what you want to say to all the millions of people watching this?
Oh, first of all, just hey guys, thank you so much for all of your support. And if you're, like I said, you're not on the channel, or if you check out my Telegram, forget about YouTube. You don't want to check out my videos. Join the Telegram channel, and that is what is it, Moscow Photog or Moscow Photography? I'll give you the link so you can put it in the description. But check us out on Telegram as well, and just be part of the community.
Yes, Anna, just write to him on his YouTube channel, and I'm sure you can.
Yes, please, Anna. Love to connect.
All right, thanks for coming up, and have a great night in Moscow.
Thanks for having me.
Hope to see you soon live once I reach Moscow again, and maybe just hanging out, not always with the camera. We YouTubers, we always bring the cameras with us.
We always have a camera, right?
And I think we have like a mutual agreement that it's fine to film. It's like work, but it's fine to film. But then sometimes I think about, that's not normal. Let's go for a coffee. Yeah, let's go. You go first. I'll film you from the back. Like, why?
It happens.
The most normal thing without cameras was the walk to Joe's apartment with you, because we were tired. And instead of 7 minutes, we walked 1 hour.
We worked 1 hour because I'm a total man. Right? I was like, no, I'm not going to look at my phone. I think my phone my phone died.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at it. I was like, no, I remember. Because
of the situation, there's GPS problems, so I did not know where we are.
I was like, no, I know where we're going. And I was like, I think his house is over here. No, I think it's over there. And
we are totally in the wrong direction.
So sorry, man.
So guys, in Moscow, one tip I give also to my members and people in general, In Russia, in big cities, one step wrong, if you go to the wrong direction, that can mean a lot. In St. Petersburg, in Moscow, if you miss one, let's say a crossroad, and you say like from Europe, I'll go to another one. Well, another one might be like 500 meters away. So, if you want to go across, go now, because later on you have to be,
right.
Yeah, these type of little issues. So, hey, great talking to you. Have a great night.
Likewise,
Thanks,
man.
everybody. Thanks for everybody for chatting. Thanks for super chats, and see you guys soon. And Eddie,
you got it.
Soon as
Пока.
well. Всем пока. Bye-bye.